On my wedding day, my brother splashed red wine all over my wedding dress. Su Jinhuan, you knew perfectly well that Yan Yan also has feelings for Qianran. How dare you make such a spectacle of this wedding? My fiancé stood coldly by the door and spoke in a low, detached voice. I'm giving you two options, either go through with the ceremony wearing this stained wedding dress. Second option, go apologize to Yan Yan immediately, once you've made it up to her. I'll announce the postponement of the wedding, but I didn't choose either. I took the third path. Wearing my wedding dress, I stood before our gathered friends and family and called off the engagement with Fu Qianran. Brother, lover, sister, I'm letting go of everything. But right after I left, I heard that the leaders of the two most powerful families in SisterI had gone completely mad. They scoured the globe for the world's top designers, trying to restore a wedding dress stained with red wine. 5. Just as I had finished changing into the wedding dress I'd cherished for a decade, Su Yicheng stormed backstage. Before I could even step in front of the mirror to admire it properly, the young man who bore a striking resemblance to me kicked open the dressing room door. Su Jinhuan, are you out of your damn mind? After all my warnings, you still insist on holding this ridiculous ceremony. You know perfectly well that Yan Yan has feelings for Qianran too. Are you deliberately trying to break her heart? Do you have any idea how devastated she's been crying at home? He was shouting at me in a furious rage, completely oblivious to how my gaze shifted from initial delight to instant desolation. So, it was all about Su Wenyan after all. I was at a loss, the overly ornate and heavy wedding dress restricting my movements while constantly reminding me, today is not the day for arguments. With a soft sigh, I didn't retort at Su Yicheng as I used to, but simply looked up with unusual calm and said, brother, can we not fight? At least not today. It's my wedding day, and I want to be happy. Su Yicheng's expression darkened further. He let out a scornful laugh and took 2 steps closer to me. Su Jinhuan, could you stop being so selfish? It's just a wedding. Is it really more important than Yan Yan's feelings? She's always been so gentle and considerate, even swallowing her heartache to wish you and Qianran well. All she's asking is for you not to make the wedding so extravagant. Wouldn't it be lovely to just have both families share a meal together? Why must you be so stubborn about this? His entitled tone made my hands tremble with anger. Forgetting all about it being a special day, I snapped back immediately. I'm the one getting married. What's wrong with wanting to celebrate it my way? So what if Su Wenyan is upset? Why should I have to cater to her emotions? Shut your mouth. Yan Yan is your sister too. It's your duty to look after her and be patient with her. My vision blurred as darkness clouded my sight, and I nearly shouted, my sister, she's your sister, not mine. My mother only gave birth to one daughter, me. Shut your mouth. Icy red wine trickled down my hair, staining my snow-white wedding dress crimson. In that instant, both Su Yicheng and I froze where we stood. He seemed to finally regain his senses, his hand trembling as he held the wine glass. Jinhuan, I didn't mean to. He frantically grabbed tissues from the table, fumbling to wipe my face, but I dodged his attempt. As if in a trance, I stared down at the dark red wine stain on my chest and fell into a prolonged silence. Wine continued to drip from my hair. Perhaps Su Yicheng found it too undignified, as he firmly pressed a tissue against my forehead. Brother Yicheng, why bother with her? I told her ages ago we weren't having a wedding. Yet she teamed up with my parents to force me here. Now Wenyan's been crying non-stop. Serves her right to learn her lesson, don't you think? Both Su Yicheng and I turned to look at Fu Qianran, who had arrived unnoticed and was now leaning against the doorway, cigarette in mouth, wearing a cold smirk. It suddenly hit me. He wasn't even wearing a groom's suit. He had on a white-based jacket with a clumsily painted little bear on the chest. A birthday gift from Su Wenyuan last year. 5. He tilted his head and let out a soft chuckle at my disheveled state. Su Jinhuan, do you really think sweet-talking my parents gives you the right to control my life? Dream on. Let me tell you, no matter how many schemes you pull, you'll never measure up to Wenyan. I looked at the sheer hatred in his eyes and could only find it laughable. Our engagement was arranged by our families when we were just children. He never, not once, said he was unwilling. Even when he started paying more attention to Su Wenyan than to me, he never once brought up breaking off the engagement. The marriage was pushed by the Fu family. Back then, when Su Wenyan found out we were getting married, she cried and went on a hunger strike, which made Su Yicheng and Fu Qianran deeply distressed. Both of them avoided me just to appease her. In my last phone call to Fu Qianran, I asked him, Qianran, do you actually want to get married or not? He remained silent on the other end for a long while, until Su Wenyan's tearful voice came through. Brother Qianran, who are you talking to? Is it my sister? He hastily snapped. Enough already. It's a decision the family has already made. Why keep asking? Stop calling me. Uncle Fu assured me not to worry, saying he would handle the wedding arrangements and that he'd also talk some sense into Fu Qianran, judging by how Fu Qianran acted today. He probably got an earful from Uncle Fu and is taking his frustration out on me to make a scene. I chuckled softly, taking the tissue from Sui Cheng and gently dabbing away the lingering wine stains on my face. Huan, has your fiancé arrived? The MC is about to have you two on stage. You, oh my god, your wedding dress, my maid of honor, SisterI, rushed into the dressing room in a panic, and the scene before her nearly made her faint. Her almond-shaped eyes widened in disbelief as she glanced at me, then at the two men, and instantly understood everything. You two bastards, picking on Huan again, aren't you? I swiftly grabbed her arm just before her flailing hands could scratch Fu Qianran's face. Xiaozi's father works at the company owned by Fu Qianran's family. It's just not worth it, really not worth it at all. But Fu Qianran seemed to have misunderstood something when he saw me shielding him. His eyes went blank for a moment, then, he lowered his voice. I'll give you two options. First, proceed with the wedding ceremony wearing this stained wedding dress. Second, go apologize to Yan immediately. If you can calm her down, I'll announce the postponement of the wedding and have a new dress custom made for you. Your choice. He offered me a choice, but his face wore a taunting expression, as if he was just waiting for me to pick a fight with him. Xiaozi was so furious that tears streamed down her face, and the look she gave him could kill. But I never showed the slightest hint of anger from start to finish. I lifted my head and looked him straight in the eye. No need, Mr. Fu. My wedding dress. It was made by my mother before she passed away. I doubt you could find a designer who surpasses her skill. Thud. Sui Cheng stumbled against the dressing table behind me. When I turned around, I met his utterly astonished gaze. His lips trembled. Unable to form a single coherent word, ignoring him, I continued speaking to Fu Qianran. So, as for both of your options, I want neither. 5. Clutching the bouquet, I walked onto the stage alone, with only Fu Qianran's parents standing before me. My own parents passed away years ago, and aside from the brother who just drenched me with wine backstage, I have no blood relatives left in this world. Under the astonished gazes of the entire crowd, I calmly took the microphone from the host's hand. My apologies for appearing before you all in such an undignified state. I owe everyone an apology. Fu Qianran snapped to attention and hurried onto the stage to grab my arm. Su Jinhuan, what do you think you're doing? Exactly what you'd like to do. As you can all see, my fiancé Mr. Fu hasn't even changed his clothes. He claims this wedding was the result of my scheming. Well, consider this me calling it quits. I hereby declare that Fu Qianran and I are breaking off our engagement. From this day forward, he can marry whoever he wants, and I'll do the same. We're done. With those final words, I tossed the microphone aside, shook off Fu Qianran's grip, and turned to leave. Behind me, the venue erupted into complete chaos. Standing before me was Sui Cheng, his face still pale and filled with panic. He reached out to stop me, but froze when he saw the glaring crimson stain on the wedding gown. I didn't linger for anyone. Tossing the last bouquet aside as I brushed past Sui Cheng, at the entrance, a fuming SisterI had already pulled the car around. Huan, get in the car. It wasn't until I settled into the car that I realized my hands were trembling. In the rearview mirror, my smudged makeup revealed a face streaked with tears. SisterI handed me 2 tissues while muttering curses about Fu Qianran under her breath. How did someone so likable in childhood end up becoming like this? He used to adore you so much. That bastard changed his heart faster than he changes expressions. Her voice trailed off as she noticed I had buried my face in a tissue, remaining silent for a long while. Huan, I'm fine. Xiaozi, really, I just miss my mom. The car fell into sudden silence. I leaned my head against the window, watching the ever-changing scenery outside, and couldn't help but feel, times have changed. So it turns out, I was the only one foolishly staying behind. Refusing to move on. Truth is, Sui Cheng and Fu Qianran were really good to me when we were kids, genuinely kind. My mother is a world-renowned wedding dress designer. She once promised to design the most extraordinary wedding dress for me, to witness me wearing my mother's love and blessings as I married the love of my life. That was the year Fu Qianran and I were first betrothed through an arranged marriage. He blushed and reached for my hand, only to be firmly pushed aside by my brother. Back off. That's for when you're grown up, not now. The adults around us burst into laughter, and I shyly buried myself in my mother's embrace as she gently stroked my hair. Back then, my mother hadn't yet been diagnosed with stomach cancer, and there was no sister named Wenyan in our family. Everyone I loved was right there by my side. 5. My mother passed away when I was 12 years old, not knowing how my measurements would change as I grew. She altered the last wedding dress she ever made for me countless times. In the end, she had no choice but to add adjustable zippers at both the bust and waist. This was the final gift my mother left me, yet I almost lost even this wedding dress. The same year Mom passed away, Dad brought home a little girl. He said she was the daughter of an old comrade in arms, named Wenyan. His comrade entrusted the child to him on his deathbed. Icheng, Huan, from now on she'll be your little sister. You must get along well with her. Understood. I suppose I knew, but Wenyan clearly had no idea. I've never, ever seen a child like this. One moment she was gritting her teeth trying to snatch the doll from my hands, and the next she was shedding tears in front of my brother and Fu Qianran. Do people instinctively sympathize with and trust the vulnerable? I'm not sure. All I know is that the two people who initially sided with me gradually shifted their allegiance to Wenyan, Huan. You can't do this. Yan has lost both parents. How heartbreaking is that? Exactly, Jin Huan. You should be more considerate of Wenyan. You still have your brother and me, but Wenyan has no one. I've lost count of how many times I've had heated arguments with them. Every argument ended with them yelling at me, saying I'm not half as gentle and lovely as Yan. Gradually, I didn't even want to argue anymore. But this kind of compromise only made Wenyan go too far. She even had the audacity to try and take the wedding dress my mother left me. When I saw her dragging that white wedding dress down the stairs, I completely lost my temper. It was the first time I ever laid a hand on her. That's when she stormed into my room with Su Yicheng, a bright red slap mark still visible on her face. I was still carefully wiping the dust-stained hem of my dress with clean water. Sob, brother. Please don't scold sister. It's all Yan's fault for upsetting her. She only hit me because I deserved it. I still remember clearly how Su Yicheng looked at me, disappointed, confused, and even, with a hint of disgust, he said, Su Jinhuan, I never imagined you could become so vicious. Yan had never seen such beautiful clothes before. She was just looking at them. How could you resort to such cruelty? Trembling with rage, I began arguing loudly with Su Yicheng. The commotion drew my father's attention, and he came over to see what was happening. Gazing at Su Wenyan's tear-streaked face, he coaxed gently, Don't cry, Yan. Daddy will have someone make you an even prettier princess dress. Okay. After comforting Su Wenyan, he turned around and finally noticed I was still standing there, his face instantly flushing with embarrassment. Ahem, of course, we'll get one for Huan too. Alright. Watching him and Su Yicheng tenderly wipe away Su Wenyan's tears, it finally dawned on me, I seem to be the outsider here. I didn't ask for a new princess dress, and even that wedding gown, I carefully hid away in a locked wardrobe. It was on that day I suddenly realized, there's no one left in this world who truly loves me. Huan, we're here, let me go in with you, so that little schemer won't bully you again. 5. Looking at Song Si, whose eyes were as red as mine, I hesitated and shook my head. All these years, just to stand up for me, she's endured countless schemes from Su Wenyuan. Xiao Si is impulsive and naive. Su Wenyuan could set a trap right under her nose, and she wouldn't even notice. Fu Qianran, leveraging his status as the young master of the conglomerate, always sides with Su Wenyuan without question, often reducing her to tears. I'm about to leave this place. I can't let her get into trouble because of me anymore. It's alright, Xiao Si. I'm just going to grab my ID and passport. I'll be right out as soon as I get them. I took a deep breath and stepped into the Su family's ancestral home, lifting the voluminous skirt of my dress. The moment I entered, I saw Su Wenyan, who Su Yicheng and Fu Qianran had described as weeping bitterly, leaning back on the sofa, twirling her hair with a smirk as she looked at me. Oh, big sister's back. I remember brother Qianran just left less than an hour ago. Did the wedding end that quickly? As she spoke, she feigned surprise and covered her mouth. What happened to your wedding dress? Sis, Qianran is really too much. No matter how much he dislikes you, he shouldn't have poured wine on you. This was left to you by Mrs. Su. After all, seeing my expression remain completely unreadable, the smile in the corner of her eyes gradually faded. I truly couldn't muster even a hint of anger. All that was left in my heart was a deep, aching sorrow. Even she still remembers that it was left to me by mother. Yet Su Yicheng actually forgot. I cut her off before she could speak again. It's not Fu Qianran. She froze, and I continued, not him, it's Su Yicheng. Su Wenyan's expression went completely still, her lips parted several times as if to speak, but no words came out. From now on, you don't have to fight for anything anymore. Whether it's brother's affection or Fu Qianran's attention, I'm giving it all to you. I want nothing. I dodged past her into the room, but she followed closely behind and grabbed my wrist. Something I said must have struck a nerve, because Su Wenyuan became unusually agitated. Giving it to me, What do you mean, giving it to me? You're just incompetent. You never stood a chance to begin with. I don't need anyone's pity. I won fair and square. I was the one who triumphed. She wore that cutting expression again, one she reserved only for me in private, her eyes wild with madness. Su Jinhwan, you lost to me, ha 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 ha. I thought she'd gone mad, my wrists ached where she gripped them, throbbing with pain. Su Wenyun, have you lost your mind? I finally snapped and gave her a shove. It wasn't even that hard, but she let out a sharp cry and stumbled backward into the display cabinet against the wall. With a loud crash, the entire cabinet toppled over in an instant, the treasures I've cherished for over a decade, shattered, broken, smashed to pieces beyond recognition. I was staring blankly at a shattered glass jar on the floor when, caught off guard, someone shoved me hard from behind. Get away. And here I was actually considering apologizing to you. The moment I took my eyes off you, you started bullying Yan Yan. Fu Qianran, who had just arrived, pushed me onto a pile of glass shards. And my ankle started bleeding instantly. 5. Hiss, I gasped in pain, about to snap back when he grabbed my shoulders with both hands. Su Jinhwan, must you be so vicious? You bullied Yan Yan since childhood, snatching everything from her, her toys, her clothes, her brother, even you. Now you're stealing the person she loves. You've already won, everything is yours. I've even agreed to marry you. Why must you be so domineering, refusing to yield even an inch? Su Wenyan lay sobbing on the only patch of carpet untouched by the shattered glass, her tears falling like pear blossoms in the rain. Fu Qianran gripped my shoulders, shaking me violently, veins bulging on his forehead as his voice trembled with hatred and despair. But I lowered my gaze to the broken glass jar, its middle shattered open to reveal the pink star-shaped cards inside. My breathing hitched sharply, and despite Fu Qianran's increasingly furious roars, the words burst from my lips. It wasn't me. A sharp, searing pain shot through the wound on my ankle, and the emotional roller coaster of the day made my head throb in agony. I could feel the sting in my eyes and saw my own tears reflected in the amber depths of Fu Qianran's pupils, but I couldn't care about anything else. I just clutched his sleeve with trembling hands. Just like 10 years ago, I wanted to do everything in my power to make him believe me. Qianran. It wasn't me. I didn't bully her. She was the one who grabbed me first. And I didn't even use force, I swear I didn't. Fu Qianran's eyes seemed to glisten with moisture, but my own vision was already too blurred to tell whether they were tears or not, yet I could feel his heavy breathing gradually calming down, and he even reached out to wipe away my tears. But then, Su Wenyan on the side spoke up between sobs, Brother Qianran, please don't hit sister, she's right, she didn't push me hard at all. I was just clumsy and lost my balance, that's why I fell. But brother, I think I've sprained my ankle. Could you take me to the hospital? Fu Qianran hesitated, his gaze shifting back and forth between me and Su Wenyan. In the end, he resolutely pushed my hand away. I'll take Yan Yan to the hospital first. We can discuss everything else when we get back. Crouching down to lift Su Wenyan into his arms, he sighed and spoke with grave sincerity. Your brother and my parents are calming the guests, saying we had a lover's quarrel and you made those rash remarks in a fit of pique. Our wedding has been postponed. I've agreed to go through with the ceremony, so just let it be. Stop making a scene and wait here for me. He kicked aside the broken glass with his shoe, stepping on the card without a second thought as he brushed past me, in his arms. Su Wenyan clenched her fists silently upon hearing the word wedding. Her eyes fixed on me with pure hatred, as if numb to all pain. I knelt down like a lost soul and picked up the card marked with his footprint. Don't be afraid, Huan Huan. Uncle Su and I Cheng may prefer Wenyan, but I like you. I really do. More than anyone, and only you. This was given to me by Fu Qianran in class. 2 years after Su Wenyan was taken home, all the classmates were laughing and teasing, guessing if it contained sweet nothings, but the moment I opened it and took one look, tears welled up in my eyes. Even now, with everything changed, I still find that childish promise more touching than any love confession. At 15, Su Yicheng sensed my distress, soothing the heartache of losing my mother with his youthful ardor. He consoled my growing melancholy, born from losing the favor of my father and brother. Yet after all these years, this is what we've become. This. 5. I was already in line at the boarding gate when Su Yicheng's call came through. Xiaoxi's muffled sobs tore at my heart. Every time I turned back to comfort her, the ringing phone interrupted us. I ended up just turning off my phone early. Huan, oh no, your wound was just disinfected but not properly bandaged. You must go to the hospital for proper treatment after landing. We held each other and wept. As I gently wiped away her tears with my hand, the staff kept urging us to hurry, and I finally had to let go. Walking further away as she watched me through tear-filled eyes, Honestly, I was running away from it all. It felt like my brain's defense mechanism kicked in, deliberately numbing the pain and pushing me to avoid thinking about those people and memories. It wasn't until I boarded the plane and saw the pitch-black night outside the window that it finally hit me. I had truly left the city I'd called home for over 20 years. I was really about to step into a future that was entirely my own, yet completely unfamiliar. Meanwhile, outside a hospital room in City A, Su Yicheng stared at his phone, which kept ringing with no answer, his frown deepening with each passing moment. This was already the dozen-something call he'd made to Su Jinhuan. No matter how much they'd bickered as siblings before, there had never been a situation where they lost contact like this. He wiped his face in frustration. Damn it. How dare she not pick up after causing trouble? His words were harsh, but the worry in his eyes grew heavier by the second. The look in Jinhuan's eyes when she left the wedding today still makes his heart ache when he thinks about it. Was she taking out her frustration on Yan Yan at home because she was angry with him? He lost his temper today. No matter what, he shouldn't have picked up that glass of wine. Still can't get through. Don't worry, she was still fine when we left. Fu Qianran's words grew increasingly uncertain. Was she really fine? It seemed like he'd overlooked some crucial detail. For instance, that faint, sharp intake of breath Su Jinhuan took when he pushed her away. He noticed it right then and there. Truth be told, it had always been this way since they were kids. Wherever Su Jinhuan was, his attention would instantly gravitate toward her, even when the situation demanded his focus elsewhere, even when there were more urgent matters or people requiring his attention. Yet he couldn't help but keep a part of his attention fixed on her every move. Su Jinhuan had been acting strangely all day, yet he failed to confront her about it in time. The furrow of Su Jinhuan's brow, her eyes slowly welling up with tears, and that look of desperate dependence on him, something he hadn't seen in years. That tone, so full of grievance and utter despair. Qianran, you have to believe me, please believe me. Ha! A sharp pain pierced Fu Qianran's heart, and he suddenly clutched his chest. Yicheng, the doctor said Yan Yan didn't sprain any bones. It might just be a bruise from the impact. Stay with her. I'm going back to check on Jinhuan. Wait, I'm coming too. You stay here with Yan Yan. For some reason, he genuinely didn't want Su Yicheng to tag along, much less wait for Su Wenyan to finish the checkup and go back together. He was beginning to sense that something was veering off course, spiraling into increasingly uncontrollable territory. He couldn't quite figure out what it was, but he knew one thing for certain. He wanted to see Su Jinhuan. He'd apologize as soon as they met. So what if it's a wedding? He'd make it happen, and he'd personally handle all the arrangements. That should keep Huan from getting angry. Muttering to himself, he dashed into the vast darkness of the night. 5. It wasn't until the early hours of the morning that Su Yicheng finally brought Su Wenyan home with a grim expression. The doctor repeatedly insisted her foot wasn't injured, yet Su Wenyan kept crying and claiming it hurt. She stubbornly dragged Su Yicheng along through all the examinations, persistently asking where Fu Qianran had gone. Did he go looking for my sister? Su Yicheng had never found his adopted sister this irritating before. Now he couldn't get through to Jinhuan's phone, and even Fu Qianran's line was dead. Already frantic with worry, Su Wenyan kept tugging at his sleeve and sobbing. Several times along the way, he was tempted to abandon her and head home alone, but the thought of her being orphaned at such a young age and living at others' mercy made him relent, dragging the situation out until 2 a.m. The moment he stepped inside, Su Yicheng rushed straight to Jinhuan's room, only to freeze at the scene before him. Amid the chaos, Fu Qianran sat slumped on the floor, utterly drained, clutching a card marked with a shoe print in his left hand. His right hand was already bleeding profusely from a glass cut, yet he stubbornly continued dialing a number. Su Yicheng's sharp eyes noticed that it was the same number he had been trying all night. No wonder both their phones were unreachable. Qianran, what are you doing? Where's Huan? At his call, Fu Qianran suddenly looked up, and only then did Su Yicheng see that he was crying. This boy next door had never cried like this in his memory. His eyes were swollen and red, his nose was flushed, and his lips were chapped. His expression seemed blank at first glance, but upon closer look, it appeared utterly frantic. Su Yicheng's heart instantly sank to the depths of despair, as terrifying thoughts he couldn't bear began flooding his mind. His voice trembled as he asked, "Where is Jinhuan? What have you done to her?" Upon hearing Su Yicheng's words, Fu Qianran's eyes widened slightly in surprise. After a moment, he suddenly covered his forehead with both hands, laughing and crying hysterically. "What have I done to her? What in God's name have I done to her? What did I do to her? What did I do to Huan?" With his clean hand, he gently caressed the worn-out card. murmuring the words written on it over and over again. I said it, I promised, I loved her most, I loved only her. What have I done? Su Yicheng was completely baffled, just as he was about to ask what was wrong. He spotted the wedding dress his sister had worn earlier that day hanging in the wardrobe behind him, a wedding dress, stained with what looked like wine. He flinched and lowered his gaze, only to notice an even more glaring crimson blotch on the skirt. That wasn't red wine, it looked more like blood. Su Yicheng's vision went dark, his legs turned to jelly, he nearly collapsed to the ground like Fu Qianran. Frantically, he grabbed Fu Qianran by the collar and yanked him to his feet. "Where's my sister? God damn it, I'm asking you, where is she?" "I don't know, I swear I don't know, brother, she's gone, she left us behind." The next second, Su Yicheng's fist connected with Fu Qianran's face. Su Wenyang, who had just shuffled to the doorway, looked up and witnessed the shocking scene. Forgetting all about pretending to be sick, she rushed over in a few quick steps and grabbed Su Yicheng. "Brother, stop hitting Qianran, what's going on? Did our sister upset you again?" The moment the words left her mouth, both men's eyes snapped toward her in unison. The chilling skepticism in their gaze made Su Wenyan immediately release her grip in alarm. What's wrong? Isn't it my sister?" Fu Qianran let out a bitter laugh, doubling over until his whole body curved forward. He looked every bit like a complete madman. He grabbed Su Yicheng, whose eyes were vacant. With a frenzied expression and a hoarse voice, "Brother, bring her back, I know I was wrong, please, get my Huan back for me, I'm begging you." 5. This was my second time visiting the water town. The last time was when my mother held my hand as we stood together in this ink-wash painting of a city. Time flies. 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Huan. The elderly person's warm and joyful call snapped me out of my thoughts. Shaking my head gently to dispel those gloomy memories, I raised my arm and waved warmly, "Granny Chi, Professor Chi." As I approached, the elderly woman playfully scolded me and patted my arm. "None of that professor nonsense, call me Granny, I've missed you so much, come here, let me hug you." I gently rested my head on her shoulder, breathing in the sweet lavender scent of her clothes, and couldn't hold back the tears. Granny Chi was my mother's mentor. She never married in her lifetime, and naturally had no children of her own. She always treated my mother like her own daughter. We were very close while my mother was still with us, but ever since Mom passed away, Grandma Chi hasn't approved of Dad's business-minded ways, and they gradually grew apart. Still, she's always been wonderful to me, calling me every few days without fail. She never misses sending gifts for every holiday throughout the year. Last month when I called to share my engagement news, she was so thrilled she couldn't sleep for 2 days. If it weren't for her age and poor health, she would have flown to City long ago, though it's just as well she didn't go. I downplayed what happened at the wedding, only mentioning that the Fu family didn't value me much. I said I no longer wanted to marry and wished to seek refuge with the old lady to work in design with her, but she was so perceptive, just from the dejection in my voice. She guessed that I must have suffered a great injustice. My grandmother was so heartbroken she started crying right on the phone, and came to pick me up first thing this morning. "Grandma, I'm sorry to get your hopes up for nothing, the wedding's off, good riddance. Our Huan is as lovely as a flower, no need to stick her in a pile of cow dung." Ahem, I nearly choked on my own spit, utterly amazed by Grandma's still feisty spirit. "Let's go. Hurry. Grandma will give you a proper welcome to wash away all that bad luck. From now on, our Huan will be happy every single day." Chuckling in agreement, I pulled out my phone to let SisterI know I was safe, but the moment I unlocked my phone, a flood of messages instantly covered the entire screen. The phone kept vibrating for a solid 2 minutes before it finally stopped. At a glance, 90% of the messages were from Fu Qianran and Su Yicheng. I couldn't even be bothered to read what they said and immediately blocked both of them, along with Su Wenyan. After replying only to SisterI, I turned off the screen again. I helped the chatty old lady through the bustling airport, my arm supporting her. Stepping into the sunlight, the weight in my chest finally seemed to lift, if just a little. 1 month into my stay at the studio, I had to finally admit, there's always someone better out there. I used to think I was naturally gifted in design, having won numerous awards even during my college years, but after meeting the prodigies on Grandma's team, I felt completely outclassed and humbled. I turned down the full-time position Grandma offered me, deciding to genuinely start as an intern, tagging along with these industry giants every day. Absorbing their cutting-edge design philosophies, kept me running non-stop from dawn till dusk. Just when I thought these peaceful days would go on forever, SisterI called me in tears. "Huan. Fu Qianran and his people have been asking me about your whereabouts multiple times, but I never told them anything. But yesterday, my dad secretly went through our chat history and told them your location. It's all my fault. I never thought Fu Qianran would be so despicable as to use my father. Did I cause trouble for you, Huan? 5. Xiao Xi's voice was trembling, and I quickly reassured her. It's alright. No trouble at all. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Did you think we could avoid seeing each other forever? I was truly prepared to meet and clear the air, but I never expected them to show up so soon. That evening, as I stepped out of the studio, I saw the two of them leaning against a tree, smoking. One was gaunt and emaciated, the other pale as a ghost, leaning into the shadows. They looked like two malevolent spirits seething with resentment, especially Fu Qianran. The moment he saw me, his eyes widened like a dog spotting a meaty bone. And he lunged toward me in a few quick strides. I immediately recoiled 2 steps, staring at him as if he were a madman. Realizing his rudeness, he froze in place, not daring to take another step forward. Don't be scared, please don't be. I'm sorry, I was too impulsive. I just missed you so much, Huan. I got goosebumps all over. Don't call me that, young Master Fu. Just call me Su Jinhuan. Hearing young Master Fu, his face turned even paler, his lips trembled slightly. But no words came out for a long while. Su Yicheng behind him grew frantic and gave him a hard shove. Huan, I'm sorry. I apologize to you. I know it's too late for apologies now, but please give us another chance. Come back with us. Let us make it up to you properly. Alright. Watching his nervous fidgeting and hand-wringing, I found it utterly baffling. Go back. Make it up to me. After all these years. I've never heard a joke this hilarious. I couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. Both of them froze, their gazes growing more tense as they looked at me. What kind of joke is this, Mr. Su? Who are you calling brother? I don't have a brother, and I'd appreciate it if you didn't mistake me for your sister. He didn't argue with me, just stood there dazed about 2 steps away, eyes downcast, letting the dim street light stretch his shadow into distorted shapes. It still startled me. He'd lost so much weight. Even his cheeks had begun to hollow out. He lowered his head, softening his voice as much as possible. Huan, I know you're angry. I'm sorry. I never should have lost my temper and thrown that drink at you. I shouldn't have bullied you, shouldn't have yelled at you. All these days while searching for you, I've been having a new wedding dress custom made for you. Please forgive me and come home with me, won't you? His words sounded sincere enough, yet strangely, not a single ripple of emotion stirred within me. What he owes me, what he's done to wrong me, how could it possibly be just about that one glass of wine? I just kept looking at his face, and to my surprise, I realized it had become completely unfamiliar. In my memory, whenever he faced me as an adult, his brows were always furrowed, his eyes filled with wariness and disappointment. When had he ever shown such a calm and gentle expression? It was as if we had returned to our childhood days. I let out a self-mocking laugh. This must be a dream. Either you're dreaming, or I am. Su Yicheng, stop looking at me like that. I hardly recognize you anymore. He looked up, desperate to explain himself, but my phone chose that moment to ring. 5. I pressed a finger to my lips, signaling for them to keep quiet. Hello, Grandma, what's going on? Huan, dear. You should have told us your sister was coming. We have nothing prepared for her. Just hearing those words made my vision go dark. It took several deep breaths before I could find my voice again. Grandma, did you let her in? Well, yes, she said you knew about it, didn't you? Before I could respond, a faint rustling sound came from the other end. Then, Su Wenyan's sweet voice came through. Sis, Grandma and I are waiting for you at home. Come alone, and make it quick. Hee, something's off. Her demeanor was off. The barely contained excitement in her tone carried a disturbing, almost manic edge. Alright, I'll head back alone right now. Su Wenyan, you'll take good care of Grandma and make sure she doesn't get hurt, right? I forced myself to stay calm and spoke to her gently. There was a brief pause on the other end before the reply finally came. Of course, once you're here, Grandma will be safe. The moment I hung up, I bolted toward the parking spot. The two people I shoved aside wore identical looks of bewilderment. Huan, where are you going? Don't leave. Furious and frantic, I slapped Su Yicheng across the face as he tried to hold me back. Get away from me, Su Yicheng. I'm asking you, did you bring your sister here? What exactly are you two trying to pull? My sister. Are you talking about Wenyan? As soon as the words were spoken, Fu Qianran, who had been silent all along, suddenly burst out emotionally. That's impossible. She clearly, Qianran. Su Yicheng cut him off, and my confusion only deepened. I glared fiercely at Su Yicheng. Your sister is with Grandma Qi. Mark my words, if anything happens to her, I'll make that lunatic pay with her life. My words left no room for doubt, and finally, the two of them came clean with me. They admitted that Su Wenyan really shouldn't have been there. She was sent abroad by Su Yicheng over half a month ago. After I left, she probably thought, with me out of the picture, she could finally be with Fu Qianran without any obstacles. For the first time, she laid bare her ambitions and desires, saying to Fu Qianran with sheer delight, "Now that she's gone, you still have me. I love you more than she ever did. Stop loving her, love me instead, marry me." Fu Qianran looked at her as if he'd seen a ghost. Even Su Yicheng, who had always doted on her, was stunned. Auntie Fu, who had come to the Su residence to renegotiate the wedding date, let out a scornful laugh. She shot her a disdainful glance before addressing Su Yicheng slowly. "The cuckoo that seized the magpie's nest has finally pushed the little magpie out to its death. How utterly delightful." That single sentence made all three people present change their expressions. But Aunt Fu suddenly burst into tears, pointing at Fu Qianran with bitter disappointment as she scolded, "You blind fool, your father and I have been wise our whole lives. How did we end up with a son as stupid as you? How many times have your father and I tried to reason with you? You never listened, always thinking we were trying to control you. I never should have convinced Huan to marry you. You don't deserve her." Aunt Fu left the house in tears. Only Su Yicheng and Fu Qianran remained, looking as if they had just woken from a deep dream, and there was Su Wenyuan, crying incessantly and insisting that Aunt Fu look down on her for being an adopted daughter. But this time, Su Yicheng did not gently wipe the tears from her face. Instead, with lightning speed, he contacted a school abroad and sent her overseas. Su Yicheng drove while telling me about everything that had happened recently. In the back seat, Fu Qianran clenched his fists tighter and tighter until he couldn't hold back and blurted out urgently, Huan, I truly love you, you're the only one in my heart. I just pitied Su Wenyan after she became an orphan, that's all." Shut your mouth. My mind was a mess worrying about Grandma Qi, and I had no patience for his nonsense. After I yelled at them, both wisely fell silent. When I got out of the car, they both insisted on coming up with me, but I refused. I don't want to let Grandma Qi suffer even the slightest harm because of me. Fu Qianran's hand trembled as he opened the car door. Huan, don't say it, I don't need your apology, alone. I pushed open that tightly shut door, even though I was prepared. When Su Wenyan choked me, I couldn't help but feel a surge of terror. In the corner, Grandma, bound tightly with ropes, had gone completely still. My eyes widened in fury as I struggled wildly. "What have you done to Grandma? Why are you shouting?" "I just gave her some sleeping pills to keep her from nagging." Looking closer, I could see Grandma's chest still rising and falling gently, and only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. "Sis, have you seen my brother and Qianran?" My heart sank, and I quickly denied it. "No, weren't they both with you?" I was wondering, what are you coming to me for? I couldn't tell if she believed me or not, but the noose around my neck kept tightening relentlessly. "Sister, tell me, how did you get so blessed in life? You've had everything since the day you were born. Everyone coddles you like a precious jewel. Even when I constantly smear your name and frame you in front of them, they still love you more." Her grip was choking the air out of me. My hands bound tightly behind my back, I could only arch my neck backward, gasping for what little breath remained. "You, you clearly won. When have they ever loved me more? Since we were children, they've only ever believed you, sided with you. It's you they love." She screamed hysterically, her hands tightening relentlessly. "Love me? That was pity. Do you really think I couldn't tell?" "Shut up." Their eyes are filled with nothing but pity and sympathy for me, and even that I had to beg for by constantly reopening old wounds and playing the victim. "Why is it that you don't lift a finger? Yet so many people adore you. Look, even that wretched old woman who's barely met you was murmuring, 'Don't hurt Huan, don't hurt Huan,' while losing consciousness. You're just so damn likable, aren't you?" You're laughing at me inside, I know it, laughing at all my years of scheming, only to be defeated by you and abandoned by everyone. Today, I'll make sure you lose what you cherish the most." She finally relented, picking up the lighter from the table and advancing step by step toward Grandma Qi. I lay on the floor coughing violently, using a blade hidden in my sleeve to frantically cut through the ropes binding my wrists. "Su Jinhuan, I'll make you regret this for the rest of your life." Just before she could set Grandma's clothes ablaze, I broke free from my restraints and tackled her to the ground. The lighter flew out and landed on the windowsill, igniting the drapes that hung there. The prolonged suffocation left me completely drained of strength, pinned to the floor by Su Wenyuan as he choked my neck. "I'll kill you. How dare you try to take what's mine?" My chest burned with searing pain. I could feel my consciousness fading away. The flames were growing fiercer, nearly reaching Grandma. I was so frantic that tears streamed down my face. yet I couldn't break free no matter how hard I tried. Just before I lost consciousness completely, I heard the sound of the door being kicked open. Police, nobody move. Huan, Su Wenyan, let go of her. Fu Qianran, if you won't love me, I'll make sure you suffer. May you both die together. Ah, gunshots, screams, and cries erupted simultaneously in my ears. Warm liquid dripped onto my eyelids. I half opened my eyes to see Fu Qianran holding me in a death grip. A long, deep gash had opened on his neck, blood gushing out in torrents. Beside me, Su Wenyuan lay motionless, a gaping hole in his chest, my dropped blade clutched in his hand, eyes wide open and unseeing. Get out, now. She doused the room in gasoline, the fire spreading too fast. Several police officers rushed over to help us to our feet. But when I turned around, I saw Grandma engulfed in raging flames, my throat burned like fire, and my body felt completely drained of strength, yet I stubbornly crawled toward her on all fours. Su Yicheng ignored the police's warnings and struggled to make his way to my side. Huan, listen to me and get out now. I swear to you, I will save Grandma. The mural on the wall was engulfed in raging flames as it crumbled, and I was forcibly dragged outside by the police. Thick smoke billowed relentlessly from the narrow doorway, and my heart ached as if it were on fire. Grandma, amid the chaos, I finally lost all strength to hold on and completely blacked out. When I opened my eyes again, SisterI was by my hospital bed, her eyes swollen like walnuts. The moment she saw me wake up, she started crying, laughing, and cursing all at once. Huan, you're finally awake. I'd made up my mind. If you died, I wouldn't go on living either. Sob. That idiot Wenyan. I quickly reached out and covered her mouth. My voice is still hoarse, but at least I can speak now. Granny, where's Granny? Cough. There. Don't worry. Granny Chi is fine, just a bit shaken up. She's elderly, after all, and ended up staying in the hospital for 2 days. She actually woke up before you did. She's right in the next room. I let out a long, relieved sigh, but then, my heart clenched again. What about Su Yicheng and Fu Qianran? Xiaoxi's fingers gripped tightly onto the pristine white sheets on my bed. She avoided eye contact and muttered, they're alive. You know what they say, the wicked live 1,000 years. They're not going anywhere. I didn't press further. At least I believe SisterI wouldn't lie to me about matters of life and death. 5. Given her nature, if she's not saying anything, it must be because someone is stopping her. Why should I force the issue? SisterI, come with me to visit Grandma. The poor old lady was absolutely terrified. When we arrived, she was still asleep, mumbling, run, Huan, run, don't hurt Huan. My tears instantly overflowed. I gently laid my head on her quilt and sobbed until my whole body trembled. SisterI stood by, her lips parting several times as if to speak, yet in the end, she remained silent. It wasn't until the day I was discharged from the hospital. After much hesitation, she finally handed me a letter. This was written by Fu Qianran. He asked me to give it to you. I wasn't being dramatic, I just took it without a second thought. Huan, are you really not going back to the Su family? Yeah, without Mom there, it hasn't felt like home for a long time. I plan to take Grandma and move abroad. Grandma helped me get in touch with a design master overseas, and they've agreed to take me on as an apprentice. It's perfect. I can take her along for a change of scenery. SisterI didn't try to stop me, but simply held me in a gentle embrace. Huan, I'll support whatever you want to do, but don't forget there's still me here in City A. You're not alone in this world, so make sure you come back. I nodded hurriedly, looking into her gentle eyes, and realized that this childhood friend of mine, usually so carefree and impulsive, seemed to have grown up overnight, on the flight abroad. I draped a blanket over my sleeping grandmother before finally pulling out that ridiculously thick letter from my bag. Only upon opening it did I realize, this doesn't look like Fu Qianran's handwriting at all. For all his carefree demeanor, he actually has exquisite penmanship. His strokes flow with powerful elegance, each character crisp and dynamic, but the writing in this letter is all wobbly and uneven, like it was scrawled by an elementary school kid, and one with shaky hands at that. It took me a great deal of effort to make out all the words written on it. Huan, it just hit me. I haven't written you a letter in almost 10 years. It's ironic, really. When we were kids watching those period dramas, I always dreamed of writing you a marriage certificate with my own hands one day. Till death do us part. How beautiful, how full of promise. Huan, I'm sorry. Looking back, I realize I'd forgotten the promises I made when we were young. The word love comes so easily, and young vows are never short on passion. But please believe me, the 15-year-old Fu Qianran meant every word. I used to think we were destined to be together, so the little things didn't matter. I loved you, I knew it, and that was enough. So, Juan, I'm sorry. Sorry to the you of the past decade, and sorry, to my 15-year-old self. I suppose I was terribly wrong all along, but how fortunate I am, on that day destined for parting amidst the raging flames. I rediscovered the heart and courage to love you just as I did at 15, Juan. I wish you happiness, resilience, and soaring spirits. I wish you, may you never again meet a foolish lover like me. Goodbye, Juan. Tucked within the letter was a share transfer agreement, already dampened by tears I hadn't realized I'd shed. Upon closer inspection, I realized it was given to me by Sui Cheng. He left without a word, just transferred 70% of his shares to me. Truth is, I'm not short on money. Over the years, I might have been shortchanged emotionally, but the money my mother left me has been more than enough to keep me comfortable. Still, I took what he gave. After all, it was my father's legacy to begin with. SisterI is absolutely right. Only a fool would pass up easy money. Dabbing my tears with a tissue, I turned to gaze out the airplane window. Sunlight pierced through the churning sea of clouds, bathing everything in brilliant light. I gently pressed a hand to my chest and leaned softly against Grandma's shoulder. The old lady, in a daze, gently patted my back as if soothing a child to sleep. He seemed to finally regain his senses, his hand trembling as he held the wine glass. True self 15, in my third year in France, I successfully completed my apprenticeship. My senior colleague told me she just met with an extremely difficult client from our country. My curiosity piqued. I glanced at the messages the client had sent her on her phone. It was a wedding photo I knew all too well. The bodice was stained with a large wine spill, and the skirt was dotted with dark brown bloodstains. Sue, do you have any idea how much he's offering? Enough to make 100 more of these wedding dresses. But he doesn't want a new one. He insists on having it restored. I heard they've asked every designer in the country, and no one would take the job. My senior went to meet this client in person a month ago. She said it was strange. Both clients seem to have some sort of disability. One can't speak, and his right hand trembles constantly. The other was bundled up from head to toe in sweltering heat, only his eyes visible. My senior said she caught a glimpse of what looked like burn scars under his eyes. So wealthy, must be famous, right, Sue? Do you know him? I shook my head gently, smiling as I averted my gaze. The wounds from the past have devoured my entire soul. They've left me in agony, constantly torn between hope and fear. I despise that kind of life, and even more so the person who brought it upon me. But I'm already learning to mend my broken soul. Now, I have a career I'm passionate about, and loved ones who care for me. All those past experiences of suppression, humiliation, neglect, and betrayal. Nothing in my life matters anymore. I won't look back, nor hold any grudges. As for when others will finally let go, I don't know, and it's no longer my concern. Sue, your grandma's here with treats again. Oh wow, she brought little cakes. I turned around and saw Grandma leaning on her cane. She stood there smiling, picking out the prettiest cake and holding it out to me. I thought to myself, finally, I'm someone's favorite too. Wonderful, truly wonderful.